Hey, that was something popping.
Eh,
Uh,
eh,
uh. Hey, what's up, everybody in the building? I'm excited right now. Co-parenting 101. My name is Christian. I'm not put King Breezy on there, but don't pay attention to that. I'm Christian. Right? Hey, what's up, Ashley?
Hey, I am Ashley Denise. I actually put my name on the screen, unlike him. But yes, co-parenting 101. This is not a curriculum where we're experts and we're trying to build something. 101 is we've had 100 ways to get it wrong, and now we on 101 and we are getting it right.
Now we're coming together. So yeah,
Mhm.
we're really excited about this subject. I know when I put the flyer up the other day, had over 100 likes. So I know a lot of people out there really need to hear this word because the main thing, the reason why I'm on here, and I will say is to be encouragement. Especially to all the young fathers out there. I can speak to from a father's perspective, a male perspective. You know what I mean? I definitely want to be encouraging to parents in general, but also really to all the men out there. We're gonna really get into it. We got a lot of great things to talk about. You know what I mean? But I'm just so excited right now. Why are you on here, Ashley? Like, what's up?
Well, I want to start by saying that light skinned over here and we are not poster people for promoting divorce. We are not doing that.
Oh,
We are just simply here to talk about the process has happened and the kids are impacted. What did we do to make sure that we were a better support for the kids and that we were on one accord communication wise and things moving forward? So I'm just here. I had the idea a while ago, but timing is everything. So I did, make sure that Breezy himself, when we were both ready and both comfortable and both in the
right.
place of healing where we could actually talk about it, then we would do it. So here we are.
Here we are. So right before we get started, let's make a quick statement. You know what I mean? Definitely, like you said already, we're definitely not, promoting, saying, hey, go get divorced and stuff like that. But I want to say this is that God forgives all sins, even divorce. So, like she said, we went through the process, but this video is not about any of that. This is about co-parenting and what to do if you find yourself in this situation. We definitely, I'm leaving it at that. This is what we do. So we're going to talk about how we are able to still co-parent, despite of. And that's the main thing because there's a lot of people out there, that are going through this very thing and they really need some direction. So this is the main reason why we're on here. Like I said before, I'm just excited to get going. So I said we go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. How did we meet? Ladies first. You can go ahead, go ahead and do your thing.
Oh, you gonna let me go first so you don't lie?
Hey, see now.
No,
Yeah.
no, go ahead. I want to see what you're gonna say. I feel like you're gonna Martin Lawrence this whole story, and
Oh
this change.
yeah,
So
right.
you go ahead, go ahead.
I met her, on the basketball court, you know what I'm saying, and she was working on her jump shot and wasn't that good. So I felt bad for her. I went up to her and said, "Hey, I can teach you how to shoot basketball." And then I beat her and gave him basketball, and then that's how we met.
Mm,
Just like that. And I was like, I
mm.
actually met her through church. I mean, well, I saw her on Facebook, right? But we all, I'm sorry, why I want to put that? Yeah, but anyway, we all went to the same pretty much church organization, I feel like that. And then so people, we know each other's friends and stuff like that. But anyway, I remember, I think it was like a poetry thing. I think when I first actually met you, like in person, it was I can't remember, but I think it was like a poetry thing, and we met each other. Anyway, I just remember at the beginning, it was really good. The friendship was great because that's what we focused on more than anything. We didn't have nothing else going on. It was strictly friendship at the beginning, and I think that's the beginning of our friendship and how we got here today. But like I said, I'm gonna save something for later. I don't want to give you everything right now. But go ahead, you tell your story.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell the truth about the basketball. He got beat very badly. My 3-pointer is just ridiculous. So let's just
Yeah, okay.
yeah. How many times did you get dusted? Okay. Anyways, so yeah, we met same church organization. First time we're both lovers of poetry. I write poetry. Um, we're not gonna escape the fact that you were the weird guy that
Weird guy.
was that was
I
watching
was
me in
saying weird.
church, and I was like, who is this little soccer dude over here? So that's
Yeah.
really how it all started. to God be the glory. Yes. But to speak to that, we're friends, and what allowed the foundation to continue to build in co-parenting was getting back to that foundation after everything I did express, what I mean, that I miss my friend. And I wanted to make sure that we worked on that friendship and maintain that friendship. That way, it created healthy communication, healthy interaction, so the kids could see that mommy and daddy, we're good. So that's on that app.
Right. So, and it actually goes right into the next thing we're going to talk about is what is the importance of friendship in co-parenting. You want to go first this time, or you want me to go first again?
I can go.
Go first. Go
ahead. The importance of friendship in co-parenting is just that foundation. One, friendships, showing that friendship, it not only teaches your kids how to build friendships because they're little, they're growing, especially our kids, they're interacting in school, and something as big or grand or as impacting as divorce, it has an impact on kids, so our children, to be transparent, did go through it. Elisha especially, because she was old enough to understand what was happening. You know what I mean? So the friendship allowed us to show a united front, and to kind of quell any of her feelings that she was now losing love, and losing a part of her family between mommy and daddy. So the friendship allowed her to see that she wasn't losing that, and at any point that she was with daddy and she wanted mommy, or any point that she was with mommy and she wanted daddy, you know what I mean, then we were right there to make sure that they weren't missing anything. So
right, that's a good answer, and exactly that. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that we decided on at the beginning, is that we will not allow the kids to feel the effects of that, right? That means that our parenting still need to be on the same level. One thing I will say, one thing we always did good together was parent, the kids, you know what I mean? And the friendship actually helps out a lot with that, you know what I mean? So people out there, if you're not friends with the other parent, it's going to be make it very difficult to get along and to even come to, common ground. So also, I would encourage, friendship above all else. Don't forget how you guys met at the beginning. Don't forget about the friendship, because guess what? Things happen. You may go your separate ways, but at the same time, you don't want to let your kids feel the effects. Just like she got done saying, with Elisha and with the kids. And the twins, not so much because they're a little younger, you know what I mean? But with Elisha, I have to go between two houses. You know what I mean? I think that took a toll on her. But one thing we always told her, that we are a united front. We work together. You know what I mean? We're on the same page. We communicate. And that's one of the biggest things that I would say. Friendship, encourages communication. So if there's no friendship there, then how can you really communicate? You're not going to want to talk. You want to be like, well, forget them, whatever. You know what I mean? But you have to learn how to find a common ground and get to, because it's going to hurt the kids if you guys are at odds against one another. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you guys will hang out every 5 seconds. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, though, you want to learn how to be friendly. You want to be able to get along, and you know what I mean? And one thing I love is the examples that I had before me. I saw my mother, my dad. My mom never badmouthed my dad, nothing. We're going to get to that in a second for the do's and don'ts of co-parenting. But watching my mom and even my auntie Gail, may she rest in peace, I remember how she was with her child's father. They were laughing, joking, and they were cool with each other. You know what I mean? And I think that was a beautiful thing. And I saw that growing up. So in my mind, growing up, like, wow, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Even in the situation that we got together, it may not have been what they sought out for, right? It's not the ideal. They didn't plan to go that way, but because they went that way, it was very refreshing that to see them get along like that. So I definitely know that's helped me, even in this co-parenting situation. It's helped me a lot to be able to, be friends. Because why not? At first, at the beginning, we get a divorce, we can go separate ways. You feel some type of way, right? I'll be honest for a second. Feel some type of way, like, well, I don't understand her. Forget her. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, right. Of course, it never affected the kids. Never say, nothing to get like that. But you feel that way at first, but then you realize, what am I giving up by not being a friend? Why not? We have to learn how to forgive, and that's what the biggest thing I want to stress out today. Well, not the biggest thing, but one of the biggest things is forgiveness. And that's what it's all about. God forgives and we forgive each other. So I just thank God for just just being able to get to this point. So that friendship definitely very
Yeah,
important. Say
big, huge.
right, right. So let
Mhm.
me go ahead and I'm gonna throw something else on there. Now this is the part we're gonna spend a lot of time in because yeah, there's co-parenting do's and don'ts. There's stuff that you should do, and there's definitely stuff that you should not do. So
Mhm.
we're going to get into that in a moment. I'm going to speak from a male's perspective. So, fellas, I'm talking to you. Ashley, going to talk to the
Okay.
lady.
I'm
Okay,
going to speak from the lady perspective. Women, what I have learned
go
in
ahead,
my
talk to me.
personal accountability and my position and posture of who I was and how I
Mm.
was being a woman the wrong way versus who I am now and stepping into my full womanhood. Do you want to start or you want me to go?
We go back and forth. I'm gonna give one. You give
Okay.
one. Okay, go
Okay.
back and
You
forth.
go ahead. You
So
go ahead.
the first do's and don'ts of co-parenting. One thing I would say: make sure you do not. I'm gonna put it like this: make sure you respect the other
Mhm.
parent's time. And the reason why I said that is because it's very important to, well, I'm going to take a step back. One of the things that you need to do, right, is have a schedule. And the reason why I
Mhm.
say that, the person's schedule, now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you shouldn't be flexible or not work together because that's what you should do. You should always work together,
Mhm.
with the other parent, in my case, I'm talking to the men. Make sure you're working with your children's mother. You know what I mean? Make sure you're working with them on the schedule, but making sure that you always, respect their time. One thing I will say this. I remember at the beginning, we first went our separate ways, and I remember we had a schedule, right? But I wanted to change the schedule at the last moment because I felt, well, you should just do it because, these are your kids and you need to do it. But what I learned and his own wisdom is that's not okay. That's not right because at the end of the day, when you come to a decision, right, and you're going to say this is scheduled, we're going to say, for example, you're going to have the kids Monday through Wednesday. And I said, okay, I have them Wednesday through Saturday, whatever the case may be. Make sure that you show a lot of respect to that. And so the don't is don't just pull up anytime you feel like it. Come on, fellas,
Mhm.
listen to me. You shouldn't just be able to pull up anytime you feel like it. Now, I get it. Y'all cool. Y'all friends. You're supposed to be friends, right? But you can't just pull up on them like that because I think it's very disrespectful of their time and their privacy. Just show up on them like that. So I would say don't do that. You know what I mean? I understand you may say, I just want to see my kids. I get that. So if you want to see your kids, do it the right way, set a schedule so that way you can make sure you're in your kid's life. And one more I'm gonna give, and I'm gonna toss it to you, Ash, is make sure you don't allow your feelings to get in the way of you being a father to your kids. Some men out there, I know it's true, is that when we're not gonna be together, then they're not gonna be with the kids. That's not okay. To say because I can't be with you, I'm not gonna be a father to my kids. Some men are like, I want it all, I don't want nothing at all. And that's not okay because what does it do? It affects the kids, it traumatizes your kids, and then they're gonna grow up not having the love and nurture from a father that they need, all because you feel some type of way. You learn to get
Right.
over your feelings and make sure at the end of the day, I am going to be a father no matter what. Go ahead, I'll talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to speak to your respect point.
Yeah,
Respect unfolds in so many facets and areas in this. What I've learned, respect one speaking. I've
there
learned
you
that
go.
just
Right.
being respectful to people, period, but women, how we speak to and into a man, ah, is a big thing. So I've
Yeah.
learned that men are big on respect, just as our people. It's not about what you say; it's a lot of times about how you say it that
Right.
gets
Right.
done. So no matter how I felt, like you said on feelings, no matter how I feel, um, if I'm frustrated with Chris or I'm upset with the decision that he made or I don't
Yeah.
necessarily agree, it does
Right.
not, my feelings don't give me permission to speak to him any kind of way. If I want the most out of this co parenting thing, then I'm going to be respectful in how I speak to him. I'm
Right.
holding myself accountable. It doesn't matter what's coming on the other end. A lot of our conversations, like you said, especially in the beginning, were a little rough, you know what I mean? But keeping that respectful tone um, and respectful conversation and steering it back to a level of respect has always voted us well. Another layer of respect is respect for boundaries.
Yeah, right.
Boundaries. So with it, it's not just divorced parents, it's those that are separated or
Yeah,
whatever on two separate households. But boundaries are important. Do set boundaries and do respect boundaries. So understanding that it's now two separate households and you guys are going to develop new normals. Your villages are going to look different. They may
yeah,
interact at some point, but respecting of those boundaries, like he said, for the men, don't just pull up. Women, I'm not calling him at all times of the day just because my kids are there. If it's an emergency, okay, but I'm respectful of his time. I'm
yeah,
respectful of his work schedule. We share that when he's at work. I can send a text and say, hey, do you have a moment to talk? Not you
yeah.
need to get on the phone with me right now because
Right,
just because.
right, right.
Respectful of the time and the way that I talk and the time allowing him the opportunity to spend as much time with his kids as he wants to. So if I have something to do or I have something to do on my scheduled day, and we talked about this early on,
Yeah.
I would, and he brought it to me, give me the option first to be
Oh,
present for
yeah.
my kids.
Right.
Give me the option, even if it's your day, to be present. And if I'm unable to be present, then then it's my responsibility on my day to locate a babysitter or call
Right.
up the auntie or seek help, but respectful of the fact that he is a present father and he's wanting to be there. So I
Right.
can make as much time for him to be that dad and that father, even if it's on my time in my day. Being respectful of the father that he is. I'm gonna stop right here, plug in. You're a
Yeah.
great father. Thank you for being the best co-parent ever. I
Thank you.
appreciate you. Okay, go ahead.
And the feeling is definitely mutual because, hey, it could be a whole different situation. I remember a long time ago, I heard of a situation. It was so bad with the two parents that they had to meet at the police station just to exchange the kid. That's how bad it was. So I'm like, I never want to do that, right? I'm not trying to be in that situation. And, that's why I go right into it. Fellas, make sure you're not, bringing drama. What I mean by that is, you know, I get it. You may get mad. You might not like everything that your child's mother is doing, but that does not give you the license to start behaving like a fool. And I put it like that is because you begin to be belligerent and cussing them out and doing all that crazy stuff. Like, first of all, especially if you got sons, what are you showing your son, right? What are you showing your daughter as well? You know what I mean? That a man should be abusive to a woman or whatnot. So you definitely do not, want to do that. So you don't want to be with the drama. You don't want to be fussing and fighting and arguing and all of that. Like, leave that stuff alone. What are you arguing about? At the end of the day, y'all not together no more. It is what it is. You have to accept it. You accept it and you move on. And when you move on, like I said already, be a father to your kids. But don't bring drama. Don't bring a bunch of extra stuff that is not needed, that is not necessary, because again, it's going to hurt your kids in the long run. So you should want to make sure that you're being the best father that you possibly can. You want to make sure that you're doing what it takes, making sacrifices, having the difficult conversation, communication. That's a do. Make sure you communicate. We pretty much said the same thing, but make sure we communicate. With your child's mother. Communication is key. A simple conversation. There's been times with me and Ashley we disagree. I'm not gonna get to the specific of the situation, but it wasn't that long ago. But I was feeling some type of way, but I realized I was actually wrong in the situation. But I was feeling some type of way, right? But what we did was we got on the phone. You know how text messages can be, right? I'm telling y'all, you text something and it sounds good to you in your mind, but you don't know how they receive it. They may be receiving it right. Like, what is this joker talking about? You know what I mean? But you can't get. So it was good to get on the phone and say, hey, let's have a conversation as civil adults. It's okay to agree to disagree. One thing I will say, you should not throw your friendship away because you disagree. Or you shouldn't be at odds against each other because you disagree. You're not going to agree on everything, but trying to find common ground is the best policy. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry. Best policy is to find common ground. So I definitely will encourage that. One of the things is I want to bring up is do not badmouth the other parent in your kid's presence. Well, you shouldn't badmouth. I'm gonna say that right. Don't badmouth them at all to anyone, right? Don't badmouth them at all to anyone. But you definitely should not be, tearing down your the other parent in front of your kids. I've seen it done before. It's happened, and it's not good. Your father just a horrible man, or your mama, she be tripping. I don't understand your mama. Your mama just this and that. That is not okay, especially when it's kids. And another thing I will say, your kids are not your therapist. I'm gonna say it again. Your kids are not your therapist. Do not like the biggest problem you can do is start telling your kids about all your I'm just so wait a minute. You're supposed to be there for them to hold them up. Ash, can you speak to
Mhm.
that a little bit?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So one of the main things in any type of separation of any relationship is that healing process. It's
There it
very,
is.
very,
That's it.
very, very much important. It's very much important to take that time to heal. Um, I'm so grateful for the time that in the counsel that we received, and it was very wise at the time. I was like, I don't want to take no time. I'm good. And no, no, it was needed. It was
Right.
needed. But yeah, so taking that time to heal and actually sit with you to make you a better person, or um to get where you need to get for the sake of the kids is very important. Because yeah, like you said, the kids aren't your therapist. I'm not coming down to you to be like, Elisha, your daddy, he just got on my nerves today. I would never do that. So I
Right.
can say growing up, I didn't have the most present father after my parents separated. But one thing that my mother did do
Yeah.
was she did a wonderful job
Yeah.
and
There you
always encouraging me, always call
go.
your daddy, see if he can come get you. And he, you know what I mean? And there was times that he wouldn't show up, and that impacted me, but she allowed me to see,
For yourself.
my father for who he was. She did not paint the scenario in his mind,
Yeah. Right. Right.
but
Right.
she always presented him to me as the best dad. So I can even now saying, knowing that my dad was not present, still, believe that my daddy is like the best. And I mean, it's okay.
Right.
But yeah, don't badmouth them. Even in our experience, light skin. Um, I always it was my personal thing
Yeah.
to make sure that in whatever platform or whatever appreciation, I wanted to make sure I lifted you up, and
Yeah.
in whatever platform when people would, where's Chris? Come to me in person, in person at church, or where is he, or how y'all doing? Oh, we're good. I wanted to make sure that I'm always lifting you up. I'm always supporting you because that's important, to our daughters in how
Yeah.
to one show love,
Right.
um,
Right.
to anybody, but to a man. And like it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
I'm their example of how to love. I'm their example of how to emit and show emotion. And so I had to
Right.
take a step outside of myself. And you are their champion. They don't know anything else. And I make sure they know that. Daddy got it. Daddy's gonna do it. Daddy's gonna fix it. Daddy's gonna take care of it. You know what I mean? As well as the Lord, but um, you're their first true love, their first example of what love is going to look like. And so I always make sure that I'm pointing them back to you. It's just your job to to uphold the other end of that. So
Exactly, and definitely will continue to do that. I had a thought that somebody just called me, so I threw my train of thought off. I was going to share, what was I going to say? Oh my goodness. I'll come back to it. What was I going to say? My mind is going blank right now. What's going on? It was about, oh yeah, there you go. Make sure you guys parent together. What I mean by that is when it comes to discipline. One thing I love about our relationship is that if it's going on at my house, we're going to carry it over. For example, if my daughter, for example, she did something, whatever, it was like, okay, you can't be on your iPod. You know what I mean? You're grounded from that for a period of time. When she come over here, I'm gonna make sure that I maintain that, because what I don't want to do is, because mommy got her on one person, she go over here and have a, she turned up at my house, which is not okay, because again, we have to make sure that we actually raise our kids, right? And that is the main thing. You don't want to get to a point where I do my own thing, you do your own thing. Now, definitely there's boundaries with that, right? You don't get to dictate what's going on in the house. I'm not saying that.
Correct.
What I am saying is coming together and understand that you guys need to have the same common goal, which is we want the best for our kids. We want to make sure that we raise them right. You know what I mean? And in doing so, we have to learn how to do it together. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to discipline, when it comes to anything really, make sure that we're on the same page. When it comes to, I have to do better. I had to do better before with my daughter in school. You know what I mean? Make sure I communicated with Ashley the right way about her stuff at school, so that we all be on the same page. You know what I'm saying? So I always say to myself, there's always room for improvement. There's always time for me to do better, and and that. So what my point is, make sure that you co-parent together. It is not them versus you. If you do that, I'm telling you right now, you're gonna have a hard time. And again, it's gonna affect the kids. I keep going back to that. You have to make sure that you don't do that. So that's a big thing for me, is making sure that you co-parent together and whatnot. But I do want to ask you a question, Ash.
Can I
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. So, to speak to what you were saying on having that balance, when it comes to the kids, discipline wise, one thing that we have grown to do effectively, is agree on the level of discipline. We agree on, and we're using Elisha for an example, like you said. We agree on a level of discipline based on what has happened, and we maintain it through both households, but also understanding that girls and boys are different.
That's a good point. Yeah, right.
And they have to be handled differently, and thus the discipline comes differently because they receive it, and every child is different. So Gail is not going to get the same discipline that Elisha gets, and Liam's not going to get the same discipline that Gail gets.
Right.
So they're different. So when it comes to, and this is a different balance kind of perspective that I take. So my son, dads naturally are more harder on sons because they're trying to build whatever that strength factor is, and men typically aren't in tune with their emotions, and women are. So what I do is when it comes to Liam being disciplined, I allow his father to do that. And I will call Chris when he's at work and say, well, Liam has done this, or he's hit somebody, or he's acted this way. And Chris will say, is it okay if I come by after work to deal with him?
Right.
Yes. So he may deal with the more hands-on discipline with Liam, but I work on Liam's emotional development when he's with me. And I talk to him, and I help him work through and express the emotions that he's feeling, because I'm a woman. I'm better at expressing and understanding my emotions. So I'm trying to help build my son in that area, while his dad builds the strength for him that men are supposed to build in their sons. My daughters, Chris turns to mush when it comes to his girls. So they're not getting no spankings, no timeouts. They yell and they gonna cry, whatever. They cute. They're not that cute to me. I can handle that. I got that side of it, because now I have to teach them how to be, young ladies, and how to be upstanding and not to be manipulative with their emotions like they be manipulating their daddy. So,
hey, you know what?
Wrapped around your feet. So it's a balance where I have to be harder on the girls. Dad gets to be soft. And where I get to be soft on my son, daddy got to be hard. So there's a balance in that discipline.
Right. No, definitely. I love the way you said it, because that literally mirrors what great co-parenting is all about working as a team. You know what I mean? If you know anything about sports, everybody don't have the same position, right? But as in our roles and our position that we do have, we make sure that we're faithful to that. And I think that creates a beautiful atmosphere for co-parenting. I actually remember what I was going to say now. That it came to me. I'm going to talk about child support for just a moment. Now, I'm not against child support at all. And, and I'm going to get to the reason why I said it like that is because me and Ashley, we don't do child support. But I'm going to get to that in just a moment why we don't do that. But there's nothing wrong with child support, especially if there's a situation and the father is not taking care of his business, even the mothers, either way, right? If the other parent is not taking care of their business, pray on it, let God lead you, but don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with going down to the courthouse if they're not taking care of their responsibility and getting it taken care of that way. I'm an advocate for that. I actually paid child support in another, situation with my oldest son, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Because ultimately it supports him. You know what I mean? And I even pay even extra. I pay an extra amount just so that we can put in savings that one day when he gets older, he'll be able to use that. So I'm really big on that. But I will say this is that with me and Ashley at the beginning, we decided not to do child support because one thing is true. If we're both actively, we do this very well, supporting our kids financially, you know what I mean? We work together. Ashley has loaned me money when I needed it. Vice versa, I'll give her money when I needed it. We actually work together no matter what. So whatever the kids need, we're going to make sure that we supply that need and make sure that we do it just because it needs to be done. So I think in situations where I really feel low key that, child support shouldn't have to even be a thing if you are both taking care of the kids. Like I mentioned earlier, of course, if they're not taking care of it, then we already said that. But I just wanted to bring that point up because, I would suggest that you just work together. Like it doesn't matter. Even the funny thing is, even in my first situation, my oldest child, I pay child support, but he needs something, I will go come out of the pocket and give it to him. I'm not gonna be like, nah, yeah, I already paid my monthly fee. No, if he needs something right now, I'm gonna give it to him. Hey son, I need $20. That all right, here you go. If I got it, if I gotta go hustle, do some Uber Eats, whatever I gotta do, I'm gonna make sure that I supply that need for him, right? So the same, but go back to us. I think it's really important to make sure that you guys are working together because child support is there for when people don't take care of their responsibility. But if you take care of responsibility, I believe that, and I just want to hear what you think on this, Ash. I just believe that I just don't think it's necessary when people are doing what they need to do, and I think that should be the goal for most parents. Is just whatever the kid needs, supply it. New clothes, new shoes, whatever. Make sure that you take care of the need. Can you speak on that just a little bit?
Yeah, I will say in regards to child support, I do believe the court is one of those things because not everybody wants, the court in their business. Once they're in there, they're in there. You know what I mean? Right. But it's one of those things that is abused, but should be used when you two cannot agree on anything. It's like that unbiased third party that just is going to get straight to the facts and do that. With us, it was a no-brainer. We didn't need to do anything in regards to child support. I know that that was one of Chris's worries. And he was like, I don't want you to put me on child support. And I was like, when you read the court documents, I don't want anything from you because me understanding that if you're trying to start over, right? Yeah. And I'm trying to start over. Me taking out of your pocket ain't gonna help you be the best support for my kids, and what they need is stability across the board. So we talked. I want you to get to a stable place, and I'm gonna get to a stable place. And if there's anywhere in the middle where you're needing help and it's gonna affect the kids, let me know, and I'm willing to help, and vice versa. He was the same and as supportive with me when it came to the kids. But I just personally, whatever anybody chooses to do, like he said, pray about it, let the Lord lead you. If that works for your situation, having something set, fine. But again, kudos to light skin over here. He's very active and supportive father, and whatever they need, if he can cover it, he can cover it. If we have to go half, we have to go half. If I can cover it, then I cover it. But I definitely, me, in my mind, asking or putting him on child support removes stability out of my kid's other household, and I didn't need that. And so that was my personal choice of not. And if God is, Jireh, like I say he is,
Like you
I don't
say,
need.
come on.
So we're good.
Right. That's a good point. As we get towards, yeah, we definitely gonna open it up in a little bit for questions. Anybody have any questions out there? We definitely do the best we can to answer them.
Mm,
But before we get there, I do want to talk about. We kind of mentioned this already. Is how to maintain a healthy environment. For the kids at all times. You know what I mean?
mm,
How do we handle disagreements and stuff like that? So we kind of already touched on them a little bit. I just want to recap it real quick. It's just to say, always make sure that you have the most healthiest environment for your kids that you possibly can. You know what I mean? Do whatever it takes to make that happen. I don't care if you have to have long conversations. I don't care if you need to pray about it. Whatever the case may be, I'm an advocate for prayer. There's times I need to pray when I'm like, I don't understand the other side, but I have to pray, and the God lets me. God will show you yourself first and foremost, but God shows you that it's okay. You know what I mean? Make sure you focus on being the father. Make sure you focus on, working with the other party, even when you disagree. Learn how to meet in the middle, like we already said. So I just
mm,
want to admonish everybody out there. Make sure that you do the absolute best to, create peace and between the two. It can be done. It can be. A man actually is a living witness that it can be done. And like we
yeah,
said before, we're not going to try to sell you a lie and make it seem like we always agreed on everything. Of course not. Two people are not going to agree on everything. But one thing we are dedicated to is these kids. That's one thing more than anything. Make sure you be dedicated to your kids. Make sure that you love your kids and do everything you can to keep them in a healthy environment so that way they'll be able to grow properly and they'll feel the love. You know what I mean? And lastly, one thing like she mentioned earlier is friendship. Get back to the friendship that you guys used to have before, like I already said. I'm just recapping at this point. But get back to the friendship because the friendship is really going to, take you guys far. You know what I mean?
mm,
Put your differences to the side, put
yeah,
whatever happened to the side. And I know I'm gonna say this real quick. I know men, we feel some type of way. And sometimes when there's some feelings involved, that's when it becomes hard. I'm gonna talk real to you now. It becomes hard to co-parent when there's feelings involved. Like for example, if the father still wanting to be with the mother still be wanting to be with the dad. And a lot of
mm,
times, a lot of stuff can happen. That you'll see a lot of, some of the parents playing the kids as pawns, trying to use the kids to get back.
right,
Don't do that. That is not okay to use your kids as positive because you want to be with them. Well, they want to be with me, then you acting all ridiculous. And then when they when they try to move on, you all like trying to be in their business, and a whole
right.
bunch of other stuff can be birthed from that vein. You do not want to do that. My brother Jay, I think he said keep peace in the household. I'm gonna put it on the screen.
Never to keep the bond of
I
peace.
can't even get to it, but yeah, make sure, right, make sure you keep that peace. So I definitely want to share that real quick. I want to open up the floor for question and answer, but actually, you get the last word. You want to say anything else that you want to drop the knowledge on them?
Yes, I do. Really, I know we talked about a lot, but 5 of the main things that help us be successful at co-parenting is communication, and these are in no particular order, but communication, respect,
Come on,
personal accountability. It's
talk
not
about
always
that.
the other person's fault. It's not always, well, he said, well, okay, but we don't live life in the finger pointing. We live life in the mirror, and it's always should be an inner reflection. A look at yourself. Boundaries, establishing new boundaries and respecting those boundaries, and trust. Trusting that when the kids are with the other parent, if they're a good parent, let them be a good parent. We
Facts.
have 2 different households. Chris is he's a what is a social media. He posts videos with the kids and all kind of stuff. I'm not that parent. I'm gonna take you to the park. We're gonna go eat.
Right, there
Y'all,
you
I
go.
may post a picture. I may not. We're just different. Allow the parent to be who they are with their kids.
That's
Obviously,
good point. That's
the kids love them. The kids love them. So trust them. There's a reason why y'all have kids together. Let's just be honest. They weren't always that person. Bad
come
things
on
happen.
now.
You know what I
Right.
mean? That created a wedge, but trust them to be the parent. I know we had a particular conversation where Chris and I, he called me and tapped on one of my boundaries, and I just asked him, "Do you trust me as their mother?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, if you trust me as their mother, then you need to let me handle it. I'm not a bad mom." I said, "I will never put the kids in harm's way. I've never done that. So then if you trust me, you have to let me handle it. And you cannot dictate or even have an opinion on what goes on in this house." And that was that. So we've had those conversations, back and forth, but give that trust to the other parent.
Yeah.
Y'all are separating, y'all gonna create two different lives, two different new normals, but trust that they are the parent that they are, and they're always gonna show up for the kids, and make time. One thing that I know American culture kind of has grandized and pushed the agenda of dysfunction. But one thing I've learned that with any type of dysfunction, and there's always a correct function, and you just got to find the way that works. We're good at pointing out what's wrong, but never applying what it takes to correct it. And usually that work starts with us and correcting ourselves and maintaining a healthy environment for the kids. Take the time to sit back and heal, because you will project, will be agitated, be short with your kids because of stuff that you got going on, and that's not fair to them. So if the unhealthy relationship with the co-parent is causing you to be short with your kids, whenever they come to you to speak about their dad or something about their day, you got a lot on your mind. You need to take the time to decompress, take the time to heal, take the time to pray, take the time to release, relax, relate, whatever you got to do. So the kids are not the recipient of your irritation or the recipient of your unhealed part of yourself. So that's all I gotta
say. You dropped the knowledge on it real quick. I see. But everything you said, I definitely agree with that. There's anybody out there that has any questions? I'm gonna throw it on the screen real quick. You know what I mean? Boom, there it is. Q&A. Questions, please. If you have any questions, feel free. I have my phone here because I'm getting a delay when the actual comments show up on the broadcast system. But I might see it, on my phone as well. If there's any questions at all, I definitely want to, answer them. I give, make space, a little time for that. If there is no questions, we're definitely going to shut this down. And you know what? This is not going to be the only time you hear from us. I think there's more things that always continue the conversation. Definitely want to let this sit here, plant this seed, that I know that God can give the increase with it. You know what I mean? Because we really want to encourage people on today. So make sure you tag and share this with everybody that you know. You know what I mean? Because I know for a fact that this can be very helpful, especially to young parents starting out, young fathers starting out, young mothers starting out. So if there's any question, I'm looking in the comment section. I don't see any. So we're about to shut this down. If you do ask a question, I'll be looking in the comment section. We'll do the best I can to answer those. But anyway, thank you so much for coming on. I really had a good time, Ash. It was dope. You know what I mean? We got some knowledge. It's all good. So nothing else. I don't see anything. I just want to say a quick word of prayer for families out there. Parents. Real quick. And then we're going to be done with that. Anything else you have, Ash, before I do that?
No, thank you for doing this and actually, trusting me with the idea.
Of course. So, hey, we thank God for Ash and the idea, and we'll be back on it. I'll just say real quick, Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for coming on this to do this, God. And as we go forward, Lord, we plant seeds, oh God. And we ask that you help parents, be able to co-parent the right way and to remove any type of drama or any type of, boundary issues or anything, oh God, that will hinder, a healthy environment for the kids. Because we know that it's all about the kids. We don't want to cause them to stumble. We want to train them up where they should go. But anyway, Father God, we thank you again for this time. Lord, be there with the families, oh God. If there's anybody out there that needs to reach out, Lord, let them be encouraged to reach out so that we can encourage them as well. Again, Lord, we're careful to give you the glory, honor, and the praise. In Jesus' name I pray. Thank you, Lord, and amen.
Amen.
All right.
Bye, light skin.
Bye, Ash. Please.